What is up, everybody? Auburn loses to Oklahoma. Crazy game. There's so much to get into. You feel like this could be a 45-minute recap. Joined by Crain, former Western State Colorado wide receiver, David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback. Guys, just starting off, just from what I saw, one, I was shocked by how good Auburn's defense played. I feel like this is a wasted effort. On the part of Auburn's defense and man coverage. And I thought the front four played unbelievably. You know, a lot of people are going to talk about, obviously, Oklahoma getting 10 sacks, whatever it was. Thought Auburn's D-line played really well, but you got to give it to Oklahoma. They made the plays when it mattered the most. And if you're Hugh Freeze and you're Auburn, I mean, damn, dog. How bad can the offense be? How bad can you be to get on the bus, get on the plane, go out there, and look this bad up front on the offensive line? Look horrified. I think the play calling looked horrified. But, Blaine, I want to start with you. John Mateer makes the drive he needs to make at the end, takes off and scores that touchdown. This Oklahoma team, that's the difference. And, look, Auburn's not out of anything, but, you know, this Oklahoma team, offensively, you can say what you want about Ben Arbuckle. You can say he plays slippery, this, that, or the other. But it worked, and they won. They had the dog in them. Blaine, when Auburn didn't. And again, Hugh Freeze looks like he brought in a guy that is an average thrower of the football.
Yeah, I will say this. I was impressed with John Mateer in this football game. He didn't look like a Heisman winner to me. If anything, he lost stock, in my opinion. And a lot of it, you know, it's a lot tougher when you're only one-dimensional. I know my voice is already gone, but if you can't run the ball, you know, it's just going to make it that much harder. But it feels like this is a game Oklahoma didn't win, but Auburn definitely lost. And walking into another year with Hugh Freeze as an undisciplined football team and looks like another miss somewhat at quarterback. Look, I know it's a hostile environment, and it wasn't even some of the passes to me, how you miss Cam Coleman on that touchdown, I'll have no idea. But the internal clock for Jackson Arnold was non-existent in this game. How you get sacked, 11 times, sitting in the pocket for 6 or 7 seconds. That's the reason why Oklahoma, one of the reasons, wanted him gone, and it kind of resurfaced there. Yeah. So good win for Oklahoma. At the end of the day, this will be a good loss for Auburn, but I feel like Oklahoma didn't go win this game. Auburn definitely lost it, and I want to add a caveat. This was one of the worst referee games I have ever seen in my life, and I'm not saying that as an Auburn fan, but it was absolutely atrocious. And this crew shouldn't see the field for the rest of the season.
Well, Cohen, I mean, you know, and to Blaine's point, you know, you can talk about the missed calls. Auburn's up 17-16 with 6 minutes to go. You have your defense has been stopping them all day. You had a chance to stop them again. You're surviving in man coverage because the front four is able to dominate just like Oklahoma's was. I mean, outside of the Jeremiah Cobb run, there really wasn't a lot there. Jackson Arnold took off on 4th down. But, I mean, at some point, like, for Jackson Arnold, I mean, dude, you got to get rid of the ball. Like, what is – he can sure make a TikTok with his girlfriend about eating Bojangles or whatever, but his ass sure can't get rid of the ball in under 3 seconds when it matters the most. To me, that was the most middle school-looking quarterback in a passing game situation that I've seen in a long time. I'm watching Bryce Underwood on the other screen get rid of the ball. He's 11 years old. You're starting to see now why Oklahoma wanted to get Jackson Arnold out. The dude just has no feel in the pass game. He's got none. Underthrew Cam Coleman twice. Cam Coleman's just really good.
Yeah, that game was that close by the grace of Cam Coleman going and making plays. But I'll tell you what, man, Hollywood script writers cannot deliver for us what college football can. And after watching Sawyer Robertson and Baylor throw for over 400 yards against this Auburn defense, I didn't think they had what it took to contain John Mateer, and they really did. Let's be honest. Hats off to that Auburn defense and especially the front seven for the way they were able to get after him. And then as bad as it was for Auburn on offense, you know, Jackson Arnold just holding the football too long, bad ball placement at time. He still leads a 14-play, 75-yard drive to get the go-ahead touchdown, and then John Mateer just does what we said he was going to do all offseason, which is be the difference maker late in football games. Just, you know, it's just another example of where I saw Auburn's defense keep them in a football game, just like we did at times last year, but Hugh Freeze, this great innovator on offense, just can't get it done on that side of the ball, and when it's a 50-50 game, and it could go either way, I once again saw Auburn's opponent go and take it.
Yeah, and again, it opens up the door for if Auburn struggles offensively in big games like this, and we'll see what happens. There's a long way to go. If it ends up going bad, they're going to fire Hugh Freeze because he missed again at quarterback. Um, Blaine, I'm sitting here watching this game. Was shocked that it was 10-10 at halftime. It probably should have been 20-3 at halftime with everything that went on, and Auburn was able to stay in it. If you're on the Oklahoma side of the ball, you're undefeated. It didn't go perfectly, but you won. It's one of those games you have to win. But if you're on Auburn side, I mean, what do you make of Jackson Arnold now? Like, I don't know what else you could give this guy. And I know the run game wasn't there. I get that. Not being balanced hurts any quarterback. But when you have Cam Coleman running wide open on the sidelines on a double move, and you underthrow the first two that he caught, then you overthrow the one that he's wide open for a touchdown, you're just not going to win games in the SEC. Like, can this cat do it or not? Like,
well,
that's
I will say,
I think the jury's still out, but I mean, God, he missed some wide open guys.
And if you're going to beat like an Oklahoma team on the road, you have to make these plays. You have to make these plays because I promise you that guy on the other side, when it came down to it, he made those plays. But I do want to talk about what Brent Venables did on defense. Man, I think him and Baker from LSU as a defensive coach just do the best thing from just showing something and giving you something else. They're some of the best in the country. But I will say this. I'm done talking about Jackson Arnold. This shouldn't be about Jackson Arnold. This should be about Hugh Freeze. It should be about Hugh Freeze because not only did Jackson Arnold play bad, but the offensive line, one of the most experienced offensive lines in the country, got bullied for 4 quarters. You had how many penalties? Let me look here. You had 14 penalties.
Yeah.
You had 14 penalties. You're not going to win against teams like this doing that. And at the end of the day, it's the same thing with Billy Napier. You're in year, 3 or 4, and you still have an undisciplined football team, and you're still with a miss at quarterback. At the end of the day, we can all feel bad. We can like the guy, but you have to do your job. If I don't do my job, I get fired. So Auburn's going to either have to figure it out because it's not going to get easier throughout the season. So, I mean, we'll see.
Well, you can sit here and have a notebook of all these good things and give all these sermons to the players and stuff like that, but obviously it's not permeating in big games to the people that you need it to permeate. And, at the end of the day, in this sport, it's about wins and losses. And when you look at Oklahoma, you got to tip your hat to them. I mean, you're at home. You have momentum that the crowd generates. But I thought when it came down to it in that fourth quarter, Oklahoma was the team that showed maturity. You look at the special teams mistakes again, and you thought you were out of the woods. Rayshawn Pleasant runs a kickback against Baylor. I know the deal with McPherson, this, that, and the other. But once again, Auburn sucks on special teams. It's just bad. You can go to I don't care if you got a punter from Australia, from New Zealand, from New England, or Jupiter. At the end of the day, the special teams has been awful while Hugh Freeze has been at Auburn, and it cost them once again. And we can talk about the Hyde play and this, that, or the other. But, David, how good is this Oklahoma team? Yeah. Because now they're undefeated. You beat Auburn at home. You got Texas here shortly in the Red River shootout. How good is this Oklahoma team? Because sometimes you just got to survive games like this, man. Like, it's a win. Like, we've seen great teams have to barely win games to move on and make it. But, I mean, how good is this Oklahoma team?
Before I answer that, I'm glad you brought up the special teams because while there were some bad critical calls from the officiating crew that went against Auburn, the special teams, I mean, just from my notes here, I wrote down, what is Auburn doing on punt return? And the very next line, what are they now doing on punt? And then you throw in a missed field goal. Special teams mistakes really did cost them. The answer to your question, how good is Oklahoma, the answer to that will be, is this the worst that John Mateer plays? Because Auburn's defense certainly made the kid look mortal, and in one of his worst football games, he still led the game-winning drive and had his 10th consecutive game with a pass and a rush TD. I'll repeat it one more time. A 10th consecutive game of a pass touchdown and a rush touchdown. If this is the worst he plays this year, then he's still going to be in contention for the Heisman Trophy, and Oklahoma is going to be in the college football playoff conversation. If this is not an anomaly and SEC defenses can take this blueprint from Auburn and say, here's the plan against John Mateer, let's make him make mistakes, similar to how Michigan's defense did a couple times but couldn't capitalize on it, then we're in a different conversation for Oklahoma moving forward.
100%. At the end of the day, you are still undefeated, and that's what counts the most. You survive. You go to the next week, still have that cushion. Blaine, if you're Auburn, now you go to A&M next week. You get a bye week, and then you get Georgia. Again, you can give all the speeches you want about walking old ladies across the street and this, that, or the other, but there's a job for that. It's called the team chaplain, and the head football coach has to win games. If you're Auburn, if you go and beat A&M, now it gets really interesting. But what are you saying if you're Hugh Freeze to this Auburn offense and how to move forward after the way the offensive line played, having to go on the road again?
Well, I'm putting it on myself, to be honest, because I didn't coach you well enough, right? And that's on me. But I promise you, I'm going to fix that now. If you're Auburn, look, one, you got to put it behind you. I mean, your schedule coming up, you have absolutely phenomenal football teams you're about to play. And at the end of the day, Oklahoma's a damn good football team.
They are.
You played them on the road, and you had a chance to go win the football game with a drive or with a stop. So I don't know if it's a reasonable crash out right now if you're an Auburn fan or Auburn player, but you have to stop beating yourself. I'm so sick of watching games to where I feel like you outplayed the other team, but you find ways to lose games. And Auburn found a way to lose this game. Even in that last drive was a disaster. Penalty after penalty after penalty. Jackson Arnold, I don't know if he threw it one time in four down. So there's a lot to improve on. There's a long year ahead at the end of the day. If you win a bunch of games, if you're Auburn, this will look like a really good loss. But you're not going to be able to win these games against these teams with this rest of penalties, Jackson Arnold playing the way he is, because at the end of the day, you should have all the confidence in the world. You have the best receiver in the country, in my opinion, and Eric Singleton, who I didn't think was enough in the game plan. So it's not a crash out moment if you're Auburn, but you have to move on and you have to learn from this, because if you don't, it's going to turn into a long year very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, David, again, Oklahoma's front seven, we talked about it all week. How good they've been, and then obviously you have our Mason Thomas that comes back in the second half, and I mean makes Preston Stone immediately just whips the tackle and goes and sacks the quarterback. It's just, to me, it's like you either have that dog in you or you don't. You either have it or you don't. And since Hugh Freeze has been at Auburn, they haven't had that dog. Like, you can cry about it, you can write about it, you can send letters about it, this, that, and the other. But until you have that dog and you win, it matters. And I'm talking about last drive against Oklahoma. You're up by 1 point. You played great defense all the time, the whole game, but you find a way to give up a touchdown. You don't want to crash out right now, but at some point, what you're telling these guys to get that trigger motivated is not working. It's just not working, man. And you find ways to lose games. It's about you. At what winners win and losers lose at the end of the day. So if you're Auburn going forward, we've talked about Oklahoma, Cone. I mean, what are you saying to the team after this one if you're Hugh Freeze?
Yeah, well, what you say to the team is you got to stay the course and fix the mistakes you can fix in season, and some mistakes you can fix. And let's be honest, some things you just can't fix in the middle of a football season until you go get new football players. But I think Oklahoma's defense had 5+ sacks before our Mason Thomas even touched the football field. I mean, that's insane. And again, that's a byproduct of holding the football too long. But really what all of that is a byproduct of Auburn not being able to run the football effectively. This is the product you're going to get from Auburn's offense if they can't run the football the way they were able to, say, against Baylor. And Oklahoma's defense, credit to them. There's 2 games now that I've seen them come in with this game plan, force the opposing quarterback to throw the football. Against Michigan, it was successful, and against Auburn, once again, it was successful.
No doubt. And again, tip of the hat to Oklahoma. Found a way to win the game on a day where you didn't have your best on offense. The defense stepped up. I mean, the only time that anybody scored double digits in any quarter was in the fourth quarter, and it was Oklahoma. So again, Auburn finds himself on the other side of not being able to win a big game under the Hugh Freeze regime. Seems to be a pattern now. But again, Blaine, parting thoughts as we move into another huge week. We're going to have the full recap, obviously, on Sunday. Got some massive matchups next Saturday, including this Auburn team against A&M. So make sure you're locked in. Any parting shots on your side?
Oh, well, I'm on a bachelor trip, so I'm going to go drown my sorrows, boys.
Yeah, no, I totally understand it. We appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button and keep sharing the show. We appreciate you.